A wave of concern has washed over ITV after deeply emotional news emerged about one of the network's most treasured presenters, Shephard. For years, he has been the warm, uplifting presence viewers rely on, the man whose quick humor brightens even the dullest mornings, whose kindness puts guests at ease, and whose energy seems endless. But behind the effortless smile and polished professionalism, a far more personal and challenging journey has been unfolding, one that his wife, Annie, has bravely chosen to bring into the light. What looks like strength on screen often hides a private battle. For months, Ben had been pushing through symptoms that he brushed off as normal exhaustion. After all, juggling multiple shows, charity work, early call times, late-night reviewing, and a schedule packed tighter than his joke list on a Friday morning would drain anyone. Friends teased him lovingly, calling him Mr. Energizer, never imagining that something more serious was brewing beneath the surface. But those closest to the family began noticing subtle changes. Ben moving a little slower, pausing to catch his breath between shoots, leaning back in his chair during breaks far more often than usual. Even his signature witty quips started arriving a beat later than normal. Still, Ben being Ben, he waved off every concern with a grin, insisting he was simply in need of a holiday, or 3. That illusion shattered the day he suddenly felt overwhelmed at home, prompting Annie to step in with the steady determination only she could muster. She insisted he get a full medical checkup. No excuses, no delays, and certainly no charming jokes to wiggle out of it. The tests that followed brought news the family had feared but hoped never to hear. While the exact diagnosis remains private, one thing was clear: Ben needed rest, care, and space to heal. Annie has been the family's compass through it all. She has always been Ben's anchor, supportive, steady, and often the one reminding him to slow down long enough to sip a cup of tea before rushing off to his next commitment. But this time, her role became even more profound. She held the family together through uncertainty, comforted their sons, managed the shifting routine at home, and remained by Ben's side during every appointment and every difficult moment. But it was the message she shared with ITV colleagues that revealed the true weight she had been carrying. Those who received it said the note was heartfelt, honest, and impossible to read without feeling its emotional impact. She expressed her gratitude for the support they had offered, explained the seriousness of Ben's need for rest, and admitted how deeply challenging the last months had been. Her words didn't come from panic. They came from love, from wanting everyone to understand that Ben wasn't just tired, he needed space to recover fully. ITV staff were shaken. Many of them have known Ben for decades, laughing with him behind the scenes, sharing countless moments on and off camera. To hear that someone who seemed unstoppable was facing such a challenge struck hard. Quiet conversations took place in hallways. A few presenters reportedly needed a moment alone after reading Annie's message. Even the backstage crew, people Ben always chats with, jokes with, and treats like family, felt a heavy silence settle across the studio. But just as quickly, that silence transformed into something powerful: unity. Producers began adjusting schedules without hesitation, planning around whatever Ben might need. ITV managers reaffirmed that the family's well-being was the priority, and that Ben should take as much time away as necessary. Their message was simple and sincere: Ben is not just a presenter, he is family. Yet despite the support surrounding him, Ben struggled with a challenge many people face during difficult times: guilt. He worried about causing stress, about letting people down, about stepping away from work. He felt torn between wanting to rest and wanting to keep being the cheerful presence everyone expects him to be. Annie gently reminded him, again and again, that focusing on his health wasn't selfish, it was essential. Healing wasn't optional, it was the only path forward. Friends say Ben is slowly learning to accept that rest is not weakness, and stepping back doesn't diminish everything he has built. If anything, it shows strength, choosing to care for himself, choosing to be present for his family, choosing to believe that brighter days are ahead. Through all of this, Annie has remained his greatest source of strength, comfort, and at times comic relief. Even in the toughest moments, she finds ways to lighten the mood, teasing him about his insistence on handling tasks he clearly shouldn't, joking that he finally has an excuse to avoid chores he pretends he doesn't see, and reminding him that even superheroes need naps. Their family has always been full of laughter, and that hasn't changed. If anything, humor has become part of their healing. As the news spread, fans across the country began sending letters, messages, and heartfelt comments online, words filled with encouragement, hope, and appreciation for everything Ben has given to audiences over the years. The outpouring has been overwhelming in the most beautiful way, creating a wave of positivity and support that Annie says has lifted their spirits more than anyone could imagine. Doctors remain optimistic. With proper rest, treatment, and the steady love surrounding him, Ben is expected to recover and regain his energy. The path won't be instant, and the family knows there may be difficult days ahead, but they are facing every moment with unity, patience, and trust. And the Shephard family now spends more quiet time together. Long conversations, gentle routines, shared meals, and simple moments that had often been lost in the whirlwind of television life. These days aren't defined by fear. They're defined by connection, by love, by choosing to focus on the present rather than the pressure of the future. And ITV stands firmly beside them, not with sadness, but with strength, with reassurance, with unwavering support. Because at the heart of television, behind the cameras, beyond the scripts and the lights, are real people navigating real challenges. Ben may be resting away from the spotlight for now, but one thing is certain. Viewers, colleagues, and loved ones are cheering him on every step of the way. And when he does return, stronger, refreshed, and full of that unmistakable charm, the moment will be unforgettable. For now, we wish Ben comfort, healing, and all the warmth the world can send his way.